Hey Bat fans, Luke here, ready to do a Bat Chat session with you and go ahead and take a look at this week's Bat books. And man, they were a plenty. As you see, these are all the books we're going to cover, so it's going to be a challenge to keep this video straight, but I'm down for it. Let's go ahead and do this. We're going to go ahead and start with probably the one that probably most people are going to be talking about this week, and that is Detective Comics issue 940. I have obviously the standard and the variant cover done by Raphael Albuquerque. So, but yeah, Tech 940. Wow. Tynion was just signed exclusive by DC just the other day, and I could see why. This story arc just wrapped up, this issue right here, and man, was it good. And I'm not going to go too far in depth, because again, I just want to try to keep this video short, but wow, was this issue really good. The art was superb in this. I mean, Eddie Barrows is back, and man, did he just knock this thing out of the park. Trust me, get it, and just this was such a really good issue. The interaction between Kate and Jacob Kane was awesome up there in I guess a blimp they were in. Just their dialogue is it kind of comes to a crescendo in this issue, and it was executed really well. In the bigger scope of things, you do see Tim successfully battle off the wave of drones. However, the general does have a second wave that does come after Tim, and unfortunately, Tim just barely survives the first one, and it appears to be to many people that he was not able to stand up to the second wave of drones, and Tim is no more. Or so it seems. Now that I'm not going to spoil. Other than to say, yeah, Tim is not really gone, but I will say that to get the bigger scope of things of what DC I think is trying to get at with Rebirth, this will start to make sense a little bit. And once again, this was just such a really excellent issue. I mean, it was awesome. Plus, there's another part of it, just the interaction between Batman and Spoiler. Oh, was that heart-wrenching. It was just not only the interaction between each other as Spoiler's dealing with this loss, but the reveal that Batman finally finds out what Tim was going to do to the Ivy League school. You actually see Batman kind of break down emotionally as well, and how that was executed was just great. This was just an awesome issue. Again, I'm not going to spoil the big scope of things at the end, but Tynion, whatever, did a fantastic job, and I'm giving that a 4.75 out of 5. That was just a phenomenal issue. Detective 940 was just awesome. Alright, next book we're going to take a look at is All-Star Batman, issue number 2. And I got the 3 variants. Or I got the 3 covers. Anyway, I know there's a 4th at some point. I gotta keep things under wrap. I got the standard cover, I got the Romita variant, and I also got the Jaw cover. And in this issue, I'll be honest, I didn't hate it, but I didn't nearly love it as much as I did the first issue. In this issue, we see that Batman is with Two-Face, who's now on a train, which I thought they were on a truck last issue. But, okay, I'll roll with it. Maybe we're just kind of accelerating the timeline a little bit, but it turns into a big fight between Batman, Two-Face, and Killer Croc, and White Shark, and Copperhead makes appearance, and there's one more as well. And Batman gets hit by venom of Copperhead, and Two-Face says a snotty remark, so somehow Batman injects the venom onto him, and he eventually cures him. But it was just a really weird issue, and the shark repellent makes an appearance. As obviously he's fighting Killer Croc and White Shark. And then there's sort of like a plot B to the main plot that now Jim Gordon and the GCPD are being called to Wayne Manor. Obviously, because I think Two-Face leaked some information that may potentially bring the puzzle pieces together to make everyone aware that Batman is Bruce Wayne. And it leaves the main issue, the main story ends on a cliffhanger where Jim Gordon is in Bruce Wayne, or in Wayne Manor, and he's busting down the grandfather clock, which we're perceiving to be, that means that he's going down to the Batcave. So, and then there's the backstory, which is heavily Duke Thomas centric, which again, every time I see Duke Thomas, I just cringe. I am not a Duke Thomas fan at all. And I'm not going to beat a dead horse. The character is not one of my favorites. And in this one, this is going to sound so horrible, but as Duke's kind of recounting his interaction with his parents that we saw, if you read We Are Robin, that kind of tied into, as far as from his parents' perspective, what happened during Endgame when they got hit by the Joker toxin, and Duke finally finds his parents, but they're like permanently damaged by the fear toxin. And they're kind of like these evil people, and this issue does show Duke interacting with his parents, but at the same time, he's with Batman, so that's kind of going on like his flashbacks. But in this one, he's with Batman, and they're continuing this investigation of the murder they came across, and which kind of leads through their investigation that the person who committed the murder is Victor Zsasz. And the cliffhanger in this, as they're doing this investigation, is Zsasz appears to slice up old Dookie pretty good. And this is where we're going to sound really morbid. I'm not going to say I was really happy, but because I know it ain't going to happen, but I just don't like Duke Thomas. Overall, the issue, again, didn't hate it. But I will say the thing it's Snyder's storytelling, I can be a little forgiving sometimes. And this one I kind of be a little forgiving, because I think the one thing I'm starting to see, because it happened in the last issue with Killer Moth and Firefly, and it happened in this issue. Gentleman Ghost, who was like the cliffhanger last issue, wasn't even here. So I think we're going to see a lot of villains just kind of get crammed in for like a real quick cameo, really have no depth to it. Which that's going to bother me, I think, at some point, because some of these I kind of want to see some development in it. But the timeline does move kind of quick. But Romita's art, oh boy. Some people like it. Me, again, it has its moments where it could be okay, but for the most part, I'm not really a fan. And there's one panel in here where it has a Two-Face of old, when Alfred is with Duke, kind of talking about how Two-Face has evolved, and on the left it has a picture of Two-Face, and to right of it has a more modern version of Two-Face. And man, that Two-Face on the left really looked like something I drew and threw up on it. I can't draw for crap. I'm a horrible drawer. And it really looked like that. It was like no effort, and it's the art in this was rough. So I'm gonna give this a 2.5 out of 5. I got full trust and confidence at some point. Not gonna say at some point. I think next issue it'll bounce back. Snyder's too good. He's too good. But I just don't know if even a good Snyder story can kind of overcome the issues I'm having with the art, because I'm just not really having it. So, yeah, 2.5 out of 5. All-Star Batman, number 2. Next issue, Suicide Squad, issue number 2. So the squad finally gets to where they're supposed to be, and in doing so, they come across this device, and lo and behold, for you Superman fans, they bring someone back from the Phantom Zone. And to say the least, the backup story, like we had last issue, which focused on Deadshot, this one focused on Captain Boomerang, and man, this was good. I don't have too much knowledge of Captain Boomerang, so I don't know if it's just an intentional lie or it's something that mentally he thinks it's just the truth, but it's obviously not. But the backup story was good. Overall, the art, it's Jim Lee art. I forget who did it was Evan Reyes. That's right, who did the art in the backup story. The art was good, but the story, it's just, I don't know. I think it tries to force the whole slapstick humor a little bit too much. It's too overt in it. And I think the story kind of suffers from it a little bit. Killer Croc throws up again, so I don't know if this is going to be a running gag where Killer Croc's going to throw up in every issue, but I mean, I'm also going to give this a 2.5 out of 5. I mean, Harley's moments in it were pretty good, but again, I just think they're forcing the slapstick humor a little bit too much, and it's starting to show. So it wasn't in no means horrible, but I mean 2.5 out of 5 just gives it an average, which is accurate. Gotham Academy, second semester, number 1. First off, I mean, like I said in the back of at the end of the annual review I had last, was it 2 weeks ago? It's just good to get past the yearbook story, because that was rough, just to kind of get through that. So we're back with a new, we'll call it a new series of Gotham Academy. It is second semester, so the second year. And in this issue, I don't know what you want to call it, an issue 1. This is like Rebirth. This is like a Gotham Academy Rebirth issue, because I mean, it's going to introduce you to Olive and kind of give you, I don't even want to say it's an introduction, because really it's not. It just kind of sets the environment for, I think, how the new semester is going to go. So I mean, it's new reader friendly. I would think so. But that said, if you're new, you need to read the old stuff, because it's so good. But in this issue, we have a new character that's introduced. It's I believe her name is Anna or Anita. I can't remember off the top of my head. And this is set during the, I believe, winter break. And Olive is the only one that's there. It's at school, and she spends a lot of her time with the professor, which I also can't remember her name. But now this new student is coming to school, and she is a delinquent, juvenile delinquent to say the least, and she's got an edge to her. And a lot of this issue is her dragging along Olive as she's kind of creating this mischief. And it gets to the one, I can't remember if it was the cathedral or one place where a little reveal is made, especially to the new readers. That might be kind of confusing, but it hits on a theme which I love about Gotham Academy, is that it really does play on the history of, Gotham, the Gotham world. Not just Batman, just the Gotham world. So, if you remember the symbols from Arkham Asylum, that does come back up, but that's pretty much the issue. It ends when kind of like the break is over and we got all the students kind of come back, and then this new character kind of goes off to the periphery again. I'm a little concerned with this new character, to be honest, because I think what really does make Gotham Academy so good, not excluding the yearbook part, but not even how good, but basically how it operates, it's that it deals with how much those core of what was it? Olive, Palmeline, Maps, Ken, 4, 5, like 5 characters kind of interact with each other, and as they go through these little mysteries and get them stuff and jams, whatever. So it's like a tight group of 5 people. So when you inject this one new character, which is totally different from how she interacts with all the other kids, this can either be a good thing or a bad thing. It could be a good thing because it interjects something new and can kind of give a new flavor to Gotham Academy and keep it from going stale. It can go bad by this person's being so foreign and just not sticking to what makes Gotham Academy good. So I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 5. It wasn't bad, but it really didn't expound anything on other than like the Arkham symbol and kind of finding with symbology with Gotham. It really didn't build on anything that we had from the prior issues of Gotham Academy. So if I really had to equate this is like Gotham Academy Rebirth, to be perfectly honest. So, but I'm going forward with a little bit hesitation because, like I said, this could either be good or it could be bad, but we'll see. All right. Talk about bad. Maybe that's a little too much. That's a little too harsh. Batman meets Steed in Mrs. Peel, issue number 3. To be perfectly frank, not a whole lot happened in this issue. The Batcave does get overrun by the robots, to which Batman comes up with a clever way to use an EFMP device, which basically takes them down, while at the same time the EFMP device, which would normally destroy all electronics in its range, somehow the Batcave goes by unfettered because, Batman, he is what he is. He created something that prevents the equipment from being damaged from this EMP device, or EMP device, I'm sorry. And that's Batman 66. That's, it's contrivance. That's part of the Batman 66 MO. So if you get frustrated with that, I'm sorry. You just gotta just roll with it because that's just how Batman 66 operates. But it does become a revelation due to the interaction, actually, as they trace the signal that those robots were coming to that led them to the Batcave. Steed actually had a pen given to him that was actually a signal device that enabled the robots to track down where they're at. It turned out, as we kind of were led to believe, that the damsel in distress in the first issue is the bad person, and that which led them to this. Oh goodness, I'm not gonna say watchtower, but God, why am I? The name's it's a tower. And basically, if you go by the ocean, the light tower, there it is. They're led to a light tower where they're put into a death trap of these, where this lady, along with, oh man, who is the villain that she's with? Dr. Shadow? Oh, I can't remember. But anyway, they leave Batman and friends in this death trap where they got all these killer bees in there, and but Mrs. Peel's got a dance and a seance way of soothing the bees, and it's up to them to now track down this evil plot. And that's really it. I said, it's not bad. I was really harsh. The art in it, just like All-Star Batman, I'm not digging the art. It feels kind of rushed. It's kind of shady. It's not typically what I expect from Batman 66, even though it's centered in the 66 era. So I don't think it can be totally polished, but even so, even up until now, the 66 series, it does have a kind of polish, but with the 66 feel. With this one, it's dark. It doesn't feel complete, and the story's okay, but it's nothing really much is happening. I'm also going to give this a 2.5 out of 5. This is 2 issues in a row. I've been kind of bummed about Batman 66, and usually I just enjoy the heck out of it. So it was average, and hopefully the story kind of picks up a little bit, because I'm not used to just getting a feeling after reading Batman 66. So alright, going quickly on this one. Earth 2 Society, issue number 16. I believe this wraps it up, and to put it frank, everyone battles against Green Lantern and the Ultra Humanite, and wave after wave of people come after Green Lantern, and it doesn't work, but it ends up being Batman. Oh, it's not Batman. It was Green Arrow of all people. That's who it was. Green Arrow, who kind of gets to the core of Green Lantern, kind of shake the control of the Ultra Humanite, and he kind of goes into this self-defense mechanism mode, which brings out the Ultra Humanite, which again, everyone makes one last dash to prevent him from getting to the box that, I forget her name, Wonder Woman, Earth 2 Wonder Woman. I'm not going to say Pandora's box. I think it is Pandora's box. Whatever. But shockingly, it looks like Ultra Humanite's gonna be able to use the device, but the only way to prevent Ultra Humanite from getting his hands on this device and using it for evil, it means that Wonder Woman must use the device. And in doing so, it appears that Earth 2 is wiped clean. And the last 2 pages really goes from like how it kind of ended, where it started in full color as Wonder Woman's opening this box and everyone's kind of bracing for impact. And it goes from full color to eventually shading down to solid white. So, and I think again it kind of just wraps it up. So, so I'm making the assumption this wraps it up. If there's more, I know this is going into Rebirth. This would be a perfect time to go ahead and go, okay, Earth 2 Society, let's go ahead and cut it. Because Earth 2 Society, it's been getting a little better toward the end, but I think it's time to kind of wipe the slate clean and start anew. And, if there's more, I don't know how they're going to do it. without interrupting the flow going into Rebirth. So the art was okay, but again, that's really is pretty much what it was. The fight against Green Lantern and Wonder Woman open up the box, which again kind of just makes the reader believe that Earth 2 is now being redone, as it was implied that this device has the capability to do. So another 2.5 out of 5. It was average, but we'll see where Earth 2 goes. And we're gonna wrap it up with Red Hood and the Outlaws, issue number 2. To be perfectly honest, I was really worried that we were gonna get a Scott Lobdell clunker just based off this cover, and just that's my problem right here. I'm gonna zoom in on it. The banter, the dialogue where he makes some of his characters just really goofy. It's just, that's not Jason Todd. And that's my problem. And this, as I saw this cover, I was like, oh boy, that's it. And I was reading it, flipping through the pages, I was bracing myself for it. But surprisingly, it was good. I don't think it was perfect, and I don't think it was nearly as good as issue number 1 or the Rebirth issue, but this was good, and the interaction between Jason and Artemis was actually pretty good, and the fight scenes were good. The art continues to be good, and the big reveal at the end was awesome. We were all wondering what was the weapon that Black Mask, or the item that Black Mask wants, that's in that cargo that I guess Artemis was also going for. Turned out to be not in the same. Artemis was actually looking for her arrow, her bow and arrow. But again, that was not what the Black Mask had Jason going in there for. And their big reveal is that yes, the item was Bizarro. And what's cool about this is that unless they do something more to this, the design for Bizarro, it just looks... It doesn't look like the thing I was worried about. It was kind of like the Bizarro we just saw in the last 6-issue mini. I think it was Jurgens who wrote it. It's kind of more of like the forever evil, genetically defunct Superman. And because that's good, because if it was kind of like that goofy Bizarro we just saw, that has just disaster written all over, getting his hands with Lobdell's hands on it, it's just ugh. But the fact that we got this kind of style Bizarro really does lend to this whole Dark Trinity thing, I think, that they're going for in this title, and it could potentially work. It was good. It was a good issue. Artemis does lay the smackdown a little heavily on Jason, but I believe that. I mean, she's an Amazon. Todd, as good as he is, I don't know. Todd going up against Amazon. He doesn't get his butt kicked. Jason handles his own, but at the same time, Artemis, she's an Amazon, and it shows. So, this was fun again. I mean, this is 3 issues. Lobdell done some good stuff. I'm just worried because I keep saying it, and I was going through this issue. I'm flipping page by page. I'm waiting for the banter. I'm waiting for the goofiness. I'm waiting for the totally out of character moment that Scott Lobdell can do. And I don't know. It's like I'm always looking over my shoulder. I'm waiting for it. And that's kind of, I think, hindering me enjoying this a little bit more than I probably should be, because this is a blast, and I'm loving it. But at the same time, I'm looking over my shoulder. I'm waiting for the Lobdellism to kind of hammer down. So I'm going to give this a 3.75 out of 5. This was fun, and I'm really excited to see what happens with Bizarro. So anyway, those were this week's Bat Books. Pretty good time. Kept down to 30 minutes. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. We'll bat chat about it and kind of go from there. So until next time, I think Trinity comes out next week. the Manipul issue, and then we got the start of the Night of the Monster Men. So it's gonna be a good week. So until then, take care, everybody.